Hello, everybody. How's it going? It's me, Krendor, and welcome back to Krendor Talks in front of a shitty green screen. Today, we're talking about the Ogor Mawtribes. The faction focus has dropped for the Ogor Mawtribes. Here it is, and I'm somebody. I do have a Frost Lord. I have a couple Frost Lords, actually. I think I have 3. And then I've got a bunch of the little guys. What are they called? The Mornfang. And then I've got a couple Ogre heroes. And I've actually got a couple other Ogre units I haven't built, but... So I've got Ogres, right? And I've played Ogre games, so I'm genuinely curious about this. Well, I mean, I've already looked at it, but I'm intrigued to kind of go over this with everybody and see what they think and all that stuff, because I've got some opinions here, right? So, starting out with the Trampling Charge. We've got Declare, pick a friendly Ogre or Rhinox unit that charge this turn to use this ability, then pick a visible enemy unit within 1 to be the target. Roll a d3. On a 2-up, inflict an amount of mortal damage on the target equal to the roll. So this is a pretty big nerf, honestly, to the charge thing. And I know that they're going across the board. They're doing a bunch of nerfs to a lot of armies. They're lowering a lot of mortal wounds, which I think is the main culprit here, is the mortal damage. Because I agree, like, mortal wounds were out of control in the previous edition, like 3rd edition, even a little 2nd edition, but last edition, there was so many mortal wounds, and it got so annoying. So, I don't mind this. There's 2 things that I get annoyed with here. One is the roll on a d3 on a 2-up, because you're going to roll the dice, and you'll be like, oh, I rolled a 2, I get it. But then you realize, oh, it's a d3, so a 1 and a 2 fail here. So that's pretty important to remember, because that's definitely going to happen in a game. I'll probably do that as well. So only a 3-up hits the target. So 3 and a 4 do 2 mortal wounds, and a 5 and a 6 do 3 mortal wounds. I would have much preferred if this was just roll a d6 on a 2-up, do that amount of mortal damage, right? So, I mean, you might get lucky and do a, 6 mortal wounds to it, but I guess maybe they thought that was too much as well. I mean, I could see that, but I don't know. Maybe I would probably have, at least for the big monsters, maybe you could do that and it kind of spikes or something. But I think I just still miss the old one a little bit. But, at least they still do some mortal wounds for the most part. But still, that's a pretty big nerf right there. Because it used to be like roll 2d, or no, it was roll dice equal to the charge, which I thought was always pretty cool. And then on like 4-up, 5-up, 6-up, depending on what the unit was, you would do that many mortal wounds, right? So it did get kind of crazy at times, but I don't know. It's okay. Like, it's still there. It's a couple mortal wounds, helps the chunk down stuff. It's still thematic, right? You're still doing mortals on the charge. It's just, this can be a little confusing, and then it's just not as many as it used to be. So, passive, Ravenous Brutes. Add 2 to run rolls for friendly ogre units while you have not used the Feast on Flesh ability this battle. So this one kind of sucks. This is like, it used to be like add 2 to run and move rolls, right? There used to be a add 2 to move rolls. I would rather this just be like add 2 to move. Like, I don't know why it isn't. I don't. Sighting the enemy, the ogre hunters intensify as they move with alarming speed to like, just add 2 to move. Like, I don't know, that just add 2 to run. The worst part is if you run, you can't charge. So there has to be something that's like you can run and charge, right? There has to be some sub-faction or spell or something that's like run and charge, because otherwise this is garbage. Because the whole point of your army is you want to charge stuff. So like, why would you run unless you can run and charge? I don't know. There has to be a run and charge, like spell, a prayer, a like it has to be there, right? So, I mean, if you're able to do that, then it's okay, right? I guess then you're adding 2 to move technically, because you're doing it on top of the, well, whatever. And then Feast on Flesh. So note, this is once per battle. Pick each friendly ogre unit that is in combat or that used a fight ability this turn to be the targets. Roll a d3 for each target on a 2-up. Heal, again, a d3. Heal X, the target, where X is the amount equal to the roll, and then pick an enemy unit in combat with the target. You cannot pick the same enemy more than once. Inflict mortal damage onto them. So, I guess, like, technically, you can charge in, do mortals, fight them in combat, and then pop your Feast on Flesh and do more mortals. So, I mean, that's pretty good, because then you're starting to stack mortals, but... or you can heal if you're, like, really wounded or something, but... once per battle's a little... a little crazy, but, you know, I mean, it is a pretty strong ability, especially because this is, like, every Ogor unit, right? So this is not just, like, one guy gets to do this. This is, like, everybody on the battle. So you really want to, like, get everything into battle or fighting. Like, you want a turn where everything is charged and everything is fighting, and that's when you're like, all right, now we can pop this. Because then you don't really need the passive anymore, right? Because you've already ran in and charged and done all your stuff. So... I mean, this is pretty good. I think it's pretty solid, especially because it's every unit. So, because you're going to be doing mortals like all over the board, right? So it actually does incentivize having multiple small units of whether it's Mournfang Riders or whatever it might be, right? So we'll see how that plays out. I don't know. Brutal Stock. This is a battle formation, so a sub faction or whatever they used to be. Each time a friendly Beastclaw Raider monster uses the Trampling Charge ability, add 1 to the amount of mortal damage inflicted. So, essentially, you roll the D3, and instead of doing 2 or 3 mortal wounds, you do 3 or 4 mortal wounds. So, I mean, it's cool. I don't know if it's worth taking... We'll have to see the other battle formations. Like, if one's going to be a run-and-charge battle formation, you're probably just taking that every time. Because it's like, that's probably more impactful than... 1 additional mortal wound. Like, I don't know. This one seems okay. Like, so far, everything's, like, okay. Nothing's really standing out as, like, wow, this is insane. You know what I mean? Like, so far, I'm like, Call the Blizzard. So here's a prayer. Pick a friendly Ogor Mawtribe priest to chant this prayer. Pick a terrain feature within 18 of them to be the target, then make a chanting roll of d6. Place a Blizzard token next to the target. Terrain features that have a Blizzard token gain the Obscuring Terrain ability. In addition, the roll is a 10+ until the start of your next turn. Friendly Beastclaw Raiders have a ward 5+ while they're within 3 inches of any terrain features that have Blizzard tokens. I mean, that's pretty good. Giving all your guys a 5+ ward if you're within the Blizzard terrain, so it's obscuring with a 5+ ward. I mean, that's pretty good. I like that. I think that's pretty cool. You do have to get the 10+ chant in order to make things the Blizzard tokens, however. So, or no, if it was 10+, that's you get the ward. So you have to get the 10+ for the ward as well, which you probably would want, to be honest. So I mean, okay, that's pretty cool. Then we have Kragnos, who has had quite a few changes, actually. So he used to have a 6+ ward. Now he has a 5+ ward. But he used to have a 2+ save, and now he has a 4+ save. Which, I do like how they're making saves not as strong. Because it also got to a point where saves were so good, and people would just stack saves, right? That you did mortal wounds, right? Because you bypass people's high saves by just doing mortal wounds. So now... it seems like they're trying to lower mortal wounds and balance out War Scrolls to be like, this thing actually has to roll dice to save itself. Like, I think that is pretty nice. I like there's more strategic element to that. Like, oh, I don't want to get this guy in combat with this specific thing or like whatever. I do think that's pretty cool. I mean, he still hits very hard. He's got 15 control, which is great. 18 health, 10-inch move. 6 attacks, 3x2s, 3 Ren, 4 damage. I mean, you're probably going to hit most things with that. I mean, if you all attack, you're 2x2s, Ren 3, 4 damage with 6 attacks. So, I mean, even if you only get 3 of those 6 attacks through, that's still 12 damage. You're still killing a good chunk of stuff, right? Like, that's pretty good. And if he's battle damage, he's got 4 attacks, which is like, you know, still pretty good. Because then you've still got your 3 attacks, 4x2s, 2 Ren, D3 damage, and crits are doing 2 hits. And then you've got the Hooves of Rack and Rune, 3 attacks, or 6 attacks, 3x2s, 1 Ren, 2 damage. So still 2 damage. I mean, Kragnos should still kill whatever he gets into combat with, right? He's still got the Ignore spell thing. I actually don't remember his old Ignore spell. I think it was on a 3-up? Maybe it was a 3-up. This unit can use this ability more than once per phase, but only once per spell ability. Okay. But that's still pretty nice. I mean, he can just ignore a bunch of spells, which, especially with endless... I don't know, does this count for endless spells too? I imagine it does. Maybe it... I don't know. Do endless spells now count as... I think they would. Because it's spell ability? I think they would be spell... I don't know. I'm going to have to look into that. I think it would. If this unit would be automatically destroyed, it instead gets 6 damage points allocated to it. So that's pretty cool. He can't just get one shot by like Hand of Dust or something. I don't know. The End of Empires, add 1 to the number of dice rolled when making charge rolls for friendly destruction units while they are wholly within 12 to a maximum of 3. So, I mean, that's what he did already, but he still got it. And anytime you're rolling 3 dice instead of 2 on a charge, it's pretty good. It's just now it doesn't... Now, it used to be insane because you would run this with the Frost Lords and you would charge in and be like, I rolled a 17. Here's my 17 dice on the charge. You take 10 mortal wounds, right? So it used to be absolutely bonkers, but it's still good because it allows you to make your charges and get into fights, which is what you want to do anyway, right? And then he still has the insane ability that I love, which is... If this unit charged, pick one of the effects. Roll a dice for each enemy within 1 of this unit. On 2 up, inflict the amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the roll. So he actually can kind of do that. If he rolls like a 15, he can do on a 2 up 15 mortal wounds. Although this is, I guarantee you roll a 1. That's a classic Warhammer, roll a 1. Or you can pick an enemy monster in combat with this unit and roll 2d6. On a 7, nothing happens, which, by the way, one of my friends I played against had a Kragnos, charged my Durthu, and rolled a 7, and didn't get to do any mortal wounds, so that was pretty funny. Otherwise, inflict an amount of mortal damage on that unit equal to the results on the dice used for the 2d6 multiplied together. So, I mean, if you roll double 6s, you're doing 36 mortal wounds, which is absolutely bonkers, especially in this new tuned down version of Age of Sigmar with mortal wounds. You're still doing 36 mortals. Like, it's just going to blow everything up. Like, if he charges a monster, they're probably dead. Like, straight up. Unless they roll a 7, or they just roll terribly. I mean, you could also... When I charged with a Kragnos, I ended up rolling, like, a 1 and a 5. On, like, I made, like, a 5-inch charge. So I made it, but it was, like, cool. You know, so, I mean, it all depends. I mean, a lot of the time, you're probably... What's the average? Just, like, 3x3 or 3x4? I don't know. You're probably doing, like, 12 mortal wounds or something. Either way, it's still, if you spike that, it's funny. So, I mean, Kragnos is still good. I think I actually like this Kragnos War Scroll a lot. He also has the Destruction and Ogor Mawtribes keywords, which is pretty cool. I think they're doing the same with Nagash, where he has, like, OBR keywords in the OBR army. He has, you know, the blah, 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 Night Haunt in the Night Haunt army. So it seems like the big hero guys have unique War Scrolls with specific keywords for whatever army they're in, which I think is cool. I like that. So cool. Then we have the Husguard on Stonehorn. He's got 10-inch move, 14 health, 4 up save, 10 control. I think that's pretty much the same as what he used to be. He's got the Chain Trap, which 1 attack, 4x3, 1 rend, 3 damage, plus 1 rend if it's a monster, so you get 2 rend, 3 damage. I mean, you get to pick one of these. The Vulture used to do a mortal wound on a 2-up. Now he's just like a shitty 24-inch attack, which is like, I guess you could take it for chip damage, but I don't... You want to charge anyway, so I don't even think you would take the Vulture. The Harpoon Launcher's okay. Like, I feel like you just take the Chain Trap. Like, you probably get into charge range... Right, you move to... I mean, you probably want to move into charge... At this point, it doesn't even matter your charge rolls. You just want to get into charge range, and then you probably just take a shot with the Chain Trap, see if you can weaken something. Maybe it's a monster you're charging, maybe it's something else. And then you just say, hey, I hope I get lucky and do 3 damage, right? So, I mean, that's still pretty good, a flat 3 damage. And then he's got 3 attacks, 4s/2s, 1 damage. 6 attacks, 4s/2s, 2 rend, 3 damage, plus 1 damage on the charge. And these are also companion attacks, so they don't benefit from, like, other buffs and stuff. Except all-out attack you can. And then Stonehorn, D6, 4, 2, 1, D3. So he hits pretty hard. He hits very hard, actually. My favorite thing about this is he does not bracket anymore. There's actually two things I love. One is he doesn't bracket barely anymore. I mean, the only thing that he brackets from is battle damage, which is 6 attacks instead of 4, which I mean, it's still, it sucks, but like compared to the old one where you're losing movement, you're losing like rend, you're losing like you're losing so much stuff with the old War Scroll. In fact, when I was looking it up earlier, I was like, dude, this is so much better. So that's big, not having, you know, bracketing, which thank God, I always hated bracketing and figuring out how many wounds do I have? What's the thing? Like, it's just, this is so much more fun. He also ignores the first damage point that would be allocated to this unit in each phase, which is honestly pretty good because I believe that includes mortal damage, right? So whether you get hit by an arcane bolt, whether you get hit by somebody charging you, right? Say somebody charges you and they do 2 mortal wounds. Well, now it's just 1 mortal wound, right? So I actually like this a lot, especially because it's each phase. So, I mean, they might do 1 damage to you by shooting you and then you negate it. So it's like, whatever. So I think that's pretty cool. And then he's got a once per turn. Declare. Pick each friendly enemy monster within the unit's combat range to be the targets. Roll a dice to each target on a 3-up. If the target's a friendly Ogor Mawtribes unit, its companion weapons have crit 2 hits for the rest of the turn. If the target's an enemy unit, subtract 1 from hit rolls for attacks made with its companion weapons for the rest of the turn. So, I mean, you're probably just using this on yourself so that you can get crit 2 hits on your stonehorn rock hard horns because they hit very hard. And if you just charged and did this, you're at 4s by 2s. 2 rend, 4 damage. So like any type of additional attack bonus is just going to give you potentially another 4 damage hit, which is very good. I don't think I gotta explain that one that much. 4 damage is good. So I don't know, he seems good. We'll have to see more of their prayers, but I mean, I like this. I have a Husguard on Stonehorn, so I'm hoping I can actually play with him, because right now he's kind of whatever, but we'll see. So I'd like to see the other prayers they got. We saw that one, the Blizzard one. I mean, it's pretty good. I like that. Then we have the Ogre Glutton. 6 move, 4 health, 5 up save, 2 control. 4 attacks, 4s by 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. If you've used the Feast on Flushed ability, add 1 to the control score of this unit for each model in this unit. So they go up to 3 control, which is pretty great. And they're Ogre Gluttons. Then we have the Gorger Maw Pack, which they actually hit decently hard. 5 attacks, 4s by 2s, 1 rend, 2 damage. Anti-infantry goes up to 2 rend, 2 damage. 6 move, 5 health each, but they only have a 6 up save with 2 control. So these guys hit hard. They can control decently well, but they are made of paper. Like any type of, even if you don't have any rend, you could probably still kill these guys. And they can deep strike, but they have to deep strike within 9 inches of a battlefield edge, 9 inches away from all enemy units, which is still pretty good. Anytime you have a deep strike unit, it's going to be useful in some way, especially with the battle tactic where you have to take terrain in your opponent's territory. Like, these guys are perfect for that. They just pop up, you take their terrain, boom, battle tactic, right? So, I mean, these are probably going to see a lot of use. And that's really it for the most part. We also get the little preview of the Spearhead Ogres. Looks like Lead Belchers, same profile, but they've got their 15-inch range guns, D3 attacks, 4s by 3s, 1 rend, 1 damage. And then 2 attacks, 4s by 2s, 2 damage. Add 1 to hit rolls for this unit. Shooting attacks if it has not used the move ability this turn. So, I mean, it's probably similar in Sigmar. So let's say 15-inch D3, 3 by 3, 1 rend, 1 damage. Like, all right. So overall, I mean, I think it's okay. I think they definitely got hit a bit hard. We're going to have to see more. I think with a lot of these faction focuses, we're seeing just a small amount of the big picture. And obviously we need to see points. We need to see the other war scrolls. Like, there's so much, and we're just getting a little preview, but I mean, I think it's okay. Especially with the amount of, nerfs a lot of other armies are experiencing. I still think it's flavorful. I think that's the big thing, is they're still keeping a lot of that flavor, the thematic feel of the army, and I appreciate that. That's what a lot of people were worried about, and I think that at this point, we don't really have to worry anymore. I think it's it's pretty obvious they've done a good job of keeping that thematic feel. Now, the big question is going to be, are they good? Are they actually good on the battlefield? Are they good at winning games, doing battle tactics, etc.? So, are the points costed well? That's another big one. So we'll have to wait and see. But let me know what you think down in the comment section below. I'm hoping that the Frost Lord on Stonehorn is really good, and I'm hoping that the ogre with the crossbow is really good too. I always like playing with him, so we'll have to wait and see. But either way, thanks for watching. Here's some other faction focuses of me talking about them if you missed those, and I'll see you next time. Okay? Okay. See ya.